Hello, I'm Carrie Harbinson from UNC Kenan-Flagler Business School. I'm here today with Parisa Salkhordeh, a 2014 MBA alum. Parisa, welcome. Would you mind introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about your role at Nike?
My name is Parisa Salkhordeh. I am the graduate of class of 2014 MBA full-time program. Right now I work for Nike Global Responsive Business Models. This is a new team that just established at Nike. I joined this team 2 weeks ago. Before that I was with the supply chain innovation team in the global world headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon.
From your perspective, what are some of the most important skills and capabilities needed as a global business professional?
In this business environment, there is no way that we can stay away from a global company or working cross-cultural environment or working with other countries. Like even if we look at like smallest companies that we have in a region, they have to sell products to other countries. They have to import something. They have to get their materials from another country, or they have some colleagues from other cultures. So there is no way to get out of it. Like this is like a very complex world. Like everywhere that you work, you are going to have so many different cultures involved, so many different people, like languages. So even if somebody thinks that they don't want to work in a big global brand, I would say like there is 90% or more than that of chance that they are going to face one of those requirements. They need to call a call center in another country. They need to buy a material that they cannot source locally. So it's very important to understand the microeconomic situation of the world, to understand the political things that are going in each country, and understand the impact on the market. Like what would be my business look like in future if this political party wins? There is like always like all of those dependencies that are going on in this today's world. Also like to understand other cultures, and it's very important to be able to communicate and also to understand what the other person needs and wants, and not having any bias or like just because I think this way, everybody should think this way, or because when I say it that way, everybody means it that way. To just be aware of that, to be able to be more effective and more respectful.
Can you share a story about a time when you drew upon your capabilities as a leader to successfully work across cultures?
Yeah, working in global companies, Marriott, Deloitte, like now Nike, I have been always involved in the set of procedures or set of standards that we have to roll out across the globe. And what we quickly realized in one of the projects that we wanted to have some set of a standard for the maintenance, that what works, what set of procedures that works in North America, it wouldn't work in other countries. And that wasn't just because of language, because we try to Google translate them, we would try to have like professional translator, but there was something missing. And we realized that the way that each country educates their technicians and the way that they think and the way that they read instruction, it's very different country from country. So we had to actually like get help from the local resources to like say, hey, this is what I want, so how would you say it? So that like very quickly we realized that it's not one size fits all. We need to have a very targeted communication defined for each culture and defined for each country. And that has been the same experience all over. It doesn't matter which industry you are, it doesn't matter which function you are. Everything should be tailored toward each culture and country, not just sitting in one country and assuming that, oh, everybody else is going to understand it because I understand it.
From a corporate perspective, what do you value about the Global Education Initiative here at UNC Kenan-Flagler?
It's very interesting that from the day one, UNC really emphasizes on the importance of cross-cultural and global business. And it doesn't matter if you go to a very regional company nearby or if you go to one of the biggest global companies, you need to understand how to talk to other people. You need to understand these cross-cultural differences. And UNC is very great in that perspective with all the additional workshops, with all the courses being like the global aspects being very incorporated to all the courses. And that's like something that's missing from other programs that I've known of, it's great to tell the students and make them aware, like you need to be sensitive, you need to understand what's going on. It's not enough to understand the economics of one country. It's not enough in this world. You need to understand what's going on in your neighbor countries. You need to understand how to work with your colleagues from other countries, and even if you do not work with them every day, you have to have calls. So from the talent perspective, when you go to interviews, when you hear, like when you read the job descriptions, there is always that requirement. There's the soft skills as being able to understand the other cultures, to work effectively with other countries, with other time zones even, to like be respectful of that, and also from the understanding of like microeconomics of the globe and understanding the political environment. So these are the ongoing requirements from small and big companies for their successful candidates.
How has UNC Kenan-Flagler helped you with your career aspirations?
When I look back, I always think that I owe my career to Kenan-Flagler. I always knew that I love operations, supply chain. I always knew that I want to work in a global company, big brand. But Kenan-Flagler sealed the deal for me. When I sat in my first operations class, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I focused very much on learning more and being updated on everything, taking all the electives. But also, when I hear my bosses and like the people that I work for, like give me this compliment about being sensitive to other people, to understand what they mean, to be able to read their clues and not being waiting for them to be very direct, which is like something that's different from North American culture. When you look to, like, for example, the Asian culture, that they would expect you to read the clues, to understand them without them being very direct. And that has been something that I learned from Kenan-Flagler, from the cross-cultural workshops that I attended, from working with my classmates here, from different countries that we have representative in the school, from faculty and from students that I had lots of projects with. It helped a lot for me to have that conscious of working with other people and understanding my needs and understanding their needs and see how we can meet.
What do you wish you had known or been better prepared for in terms of your global competencies for your role in global supply chain at Nike?
Another language. That's I'm not native English speaker, so I know Farsi, I know English, and a little bit Arabic, but still, I think like when I look back, when I had time at Kenan-Flagler, which I didn't really have time, but I think that I should have made more time to learn one of the working languages, either it's Mandarin or Spanish. Like right now, when we work with our partners in those countries, I really wish that I had that additional knowledge of like communicating with them without the language barrier. So that's something that I think like it's, I don't know like how many languages is enough. Right now I wish that I knew all of them, but if I go back and if I could do this all over again, I would do everything, but I always go to the language classes.
What challenges and opportunities should students seek out to help them navigate and lead in a global business environment?
So they should be open to challenge. They shouldn't stay in their comfort zone, because that comfort zone at some point wouldn't be enough. Being at Kenan-Flagler would give them this opportunity of getting out of their comfort zone. So if they feel that they are very comfortable with the person that's their neighbor and from the same state that they are or from the same country, stay away from that, because the reality when you go to a company, you are going to work with everyone, and you do not have the chance or choice of working with the people that you're comfortable with. But you need to be, for success, you need to be able to get along with everyone. You need to know how to work with everyone. So that's something that you get like once in a lifetime chance to practice it in a safe environment, and practice it while you have the mentorship and while you have the coaching from the faculty and from the people that may be better at that. So take the opportunity of working in groups, in diverse groups, take the opportunity to talk to different people. And I think like it's, as I said, it's a very safe environment. So ask questions, ask the students from other countries what they feel about something, how do they understand it, and like try to learn those and say, okay, I see this as this way, but this international student that I have, or this person that's like from different area of the country, they look at it in a different way. And Why is that? So to understand that and like practice it.
So you were both a Dean's Fellow and a recipient of a Forte Full Tuition Fellowship. What kind of opportunities did this provide you as a student here at UNC Kenan-Flagler?
It was very meaningful at the beginning. So when I was like visiting schools and everything, I had like fellowship from other schools. So like I didn't choose UNC just based on that. But when I chose UNC, it was like a very strong factor. But when I look at it now, when I look at back, I think like being on the Dean's list and being part of the Forte Fellowship program was more important than like the money, because it comes. Like the return on investment of every penny that somebody spends in UNC Kenan-Flagler, it's just huge. So I would say like now 3 years in, I would have, if I wanted to pay, I would have paid the debt off. So that's one thing that's important, but also it gave me like being on the Dean's list, being able to be in front of the recruiting teams and being on that like resume book. Of course, it gave me great opportunity. Of course, it put me in front of like pool of candidates across the country, which I'm very grateful of. But at the time when I was a student, of course, the money was like great because I didn't need to be worried about that. But the network and the opportunity was much bigger than just the money.
Why should prospective students come to UNC Kenan-Flagler?
We can all agree that there are so many good schools across the country, but every day I'm very grateful that I chose UNC. And not just because of the great faculty that we have here, which we have, and like very good rankings and very good alumni network, but also based on the network of peers that I made here. I met the best and brightest people here. I had the mentorship and I had the support from the staff and faculty here that have been with me since I joined, since day one. So there are times that when I think about my new career move or when I have something difficult going on in my life, there are mentors and there are peers that I met at UNC that I reach back because I trust them, and they always have they want the best for me. So that's something that I don't know if you can find easily somewhere else, but that connection that we have here, that relationship, the emphasis on relationship, and being like extrovert myself, I get energy from talking to good people and getting that positive energy, which is always here. Like we were working the first month till midnight every night, but it was fun because I loved my team members and we had like very good relationship and everybody wanted to help the other person to be successful, which is while we are very smart, we are very competitive, but at the same time we are very supportive of the community, which is great.
What sets our graduates apart from the rest?
Our graduates are very good in both like hardcore skills and also soft skills. Like working in consulting and now in a very people brand focused company such as Nike, I know that there is an important factor of recruiting and also important factor of success, which is having these soft skills, being able to connect to the leadership and the leadership skills. Like there is one thing to be good at marketing and finance, operations, but there is another thing needed from MBA graduates to be successful, and that's like taking it to the next level, to communicate it well to the leadership, to be able to be a change agent. So if they see an opportunity within an organization to change and make it better, just do it and like have that courage and leadership that I think like many of my classmates that I see that they have and many are fellow and like peers that I work with, they always have that courage because there are good opportunities here to develop that leadership skills required for being courage, like being brave and having that courage. That is, I think like it sets the UNC grads from the rest of the programs.
What advice would you give students about how they should spend their limited time here at Carolina?
So that's an interesting thing because at the very beginning, everybody tells students like, it's okay to say no, but I want to say yes to almost everything as long as you can, because there are so many good opportunities going on and you wouldn't get this opportunity again in life. I think like my second year, it was the busiest time of my life, even busier than when I was in consulting. So I didn't want to say no to anything because I said I have another year of these fantastic programs that I can use and I do not want to miss any, which I did because there are so many good things going on that one person cannot take advantage of all of them, but I was able to at least take the advantage of those that I was really interested in. I was the president of Supply Chain Club. I really enjoyed doing that because that was one of the growing clubs that we had. And now when I hear back from the current presidents, like how big the club is and like how active it is, I feel like oh, this is my legacy. The other thing that I was very involved was the Global Business Center. I was the student fellow working for the director, and that was also very interesting for me to understand the program management. Like I was able to sharpen my project skills, and when I look back, it's like now people tell me that you're very good at delivering and you're very good at like managing projects. And I was like, yeah, I remember, like, because I had all the courses to go through and all the classes, and I had to deliver all these programs, so I was very effective on like how I'm going to plan for it. So I learned a lot from the Emerging Markets Conference that we had as a first year, from the cross-cultural workshop, from the trivia nights that we had for the Global Business Center. Just like organizing them and being part of it taught me a lot, but also I learned a lot of organizational skills that are still very valid and helpful for me.